let's talk about the Nexus book that you have coming out.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about it?
Well, first I can show it to you. This is the first new Nexus material in 4 years. It was plotted by Mike Barron, my partner, my always partner, and it was scripted by me, first time scripting, and it was drawn, inked, and lettered by me too. And I supervised the coloring with a guy named Steve Legg, who was really good at what he does. He's somebody that really started to pick up the art of coloring after a while, after we worked together for a while. But as you can see, this thing is a good inch and almost inch and a quarter thick right here. It's just huge. It weighs, I mean, who needs aerobics when you can have a book this big right here? But it's huge. It's like 11 by 17. It's the same format as the artist edition that you see coming out with a lot of publishers these days. But this thing is just an incredible achievement. I told people on YouTube when I was going live in select moments, this was literally the proudest moment of my career. And it's all contained in this book right here, The Coming of Gourmando. This is the newspaper strip format. So literally every page is supposed to end on a cliffhanger. That's the end of the story right there. We don't want to give that away. But how is this right here? There's a Silver Surfer before Marvel's lawyers objected to it. But it looks like this right here. The coloring is beautiful. You can read it for once. It's not too dark. It's not too light. It's just right. And we go through the entire story, which is about 100 pages long, the story. And I think every subsequent volume that we're going to be putting out in this format is going to be about 100 pages of pure story. And from there we go to, people love to see the pencil art. So we included that in here. And after this, we started to feature what it looked like actually ink before the coloring got in. So it's not only is the story entertaining, but it's a learning opportunity for everyone, whoever wanted to see how a particular artist thinks, puts together, and constructs the thing from beginning to end. But I think the best thing of all is some of the fun stuff in the back that we're showing here. This is how I picked out a few illustrations that I liked, and I showed how I do it. People are always interested in this kind of stuff. What medium, what size, how you figured things out. And we've even got a letters page here because it doesn't happen anymore. One of the funnest things about comics was reading the letters page. Why they chose to abolish that is anyone's moronic guess. So I had a chance to do exactly the things that I believed in, and with a sense of bringing comic books back to being fun. Imagine that.
Now, how much of this is new material?
It's all new, every bit of it.
And how long have you been working on this?
This one took a lot longer than it should because of a lot of snags with working with incompetent editors and script problems. And this was eventually the reason why I broke off on my own from Mike Barron, the creator of Nexus, to do my version of what I thought the story needed to head towards. So from now on, with the difference of approach that we both have, Barron is free to do his version of Nexus, and I'm free to do my version of it. So he's teamed up with some artists that he really likes. They're actually very good, these artists, and he's doing what he believes is the direction Nexus should go in. I see it very differently at this point in my life. So that's when I struck out on my own. Had to go through the incredibly long process of learning how to write even remotely competently. But I went about it in a very sound way. I picked 7 of my favorite comics, dissected them, and just looked at them and said, why do I love these particular issues so much? What's in them that I just they survived the test of time for decades now. And I don't know if I ever found really an answer for that, but Um, at some point, you very, what you do as a writer is very much influenced by instinct. When I'm writing the story, you often have, this kind of um, almost like an inner voice telling you, without you even having a sense of manipulating it. You have a sense of, okay, this needs to go here now. Here we need a quiet moment. Here we need a giant explosion. Here we need something that we've never seen before. That's just going to shock people. So the instincts after all these years, and even though I never wanted to pick up the mantle of being a writer, turned out to be something I had to learn to do if I was going to take Nexus in the direction that I believe it should go in. Like, for example, Nexus and Sun Repeal had a kid. Uh, uh, Baron named him Harry. I wanted to call him Hank. That's just trivial stuff right there. But he also wanted to age little Harry exponentially. Like, he was literally going to be a teenager within a few issues. I said, you got to be kidding me. We're going to take all the things that happen in your childhood and just bypass all that. So those are the things that started to create a dissension between the direction that we wanted to go in. And that's the way things happen in life. Very often with very close partners. Me and Baron are still the closest of friends. We're on the phone at least once a month, if not a couple times a week. And he's doing his thing, and I want him to be free of my scrutiny of criticizing scripts that he's very much in love with and believes in. And likewise, he's actually very curious to see what I'm going to do with my stories. And it's really an exciting moment for both of us. It's just kind of fun. It's inevitable, I think. And knowing it came to that point eventually, you can either run from it or embrace it. And I always thought that when challenges come your way that kind of spook you a little bit, but you know it's the right thing to do, you embrace it.
So with this learning process that you've gone through in terms of scripting and writing a comic, what makes a good comic book script? What makes good comic book dialogue?
Well, you can't be trivial about it. You can't use cliches. Cliches don't work for anybody. You've got to listen to really all the experience you garnered in your life, and if it sounds unique to you and it sounds fresh and inviting to read, then you're going to nail it. So that's kind of an open-ended, ambiguous answer, but that's really what it comes down to. I have to search for these words, and it's always changing. You could literally have a balloon of dialogue, and when you're actually lettering it, it's going to morph into something that's even cleaner and more direct. But if you start to read a book and you feel like you're starting to drift off, you can't let that happen. You have to be really in tune to knowing, again, in my case, based on these beloved comics that I've grown up with, that have stood decades of time. You've really got to rise to the occasion of making the very strong attempt to make your stories as good as the ones you grew up with, that are pretty infallible.